Ivanna, and I'm the founder of Wezadada Foundation. I also work as a counseling psychologist. Today, we are going to talk about self-love. And this channel is going to be about how to help women become a better version of themselves and empowering them to become the best they can ever be. And so as I speak about self-love, I'll also share my story and how I've worked towards achieving the highest epitome of self-love. So I'll start with my story as a young girl. I grew up as an only child, and I grew up the child to a single mom. And this was not easy. I did not receive the support I wish I received emotionally. And so sometimes I looked for emotional love where it wasn't supposed to be looked for. And so as I joined high school, I was very naughty. And it wasn't that I was being naughty, it was attention I needed, and then attention I got. So when I was being naughty, I received a lot of attention from my teachers and also the fellow students. So every time that I would be naughty, I would be happy. It fulfilled me and it made me really happy. But then I realized also that I got into a lot of trouble and I wasn't able to be effective in my studies. Like I didn't do what I was supposed to do in high school. And so every time I just felt fulfilled but not fulfilled, and I would always look for something else. And so when I left high school, I went out into the world and looked for the love I seemed not to get even in high school, and the attention I didn't get in high school. There's a song that says looking for love in the wrong places. I think that was me. And so yeah, as a girl, my grandmother was there, my mother was there, but mostly it was financial support. The emotional was not very there, but then yeah, it was there somehow, and it was very hard for her, and I could see that. And it was also very hard for me to just cope with the fact that I didn't have a father I could go to. I would see my friends with someone who they could call dad, but I couldn't. And so every time I would wonder what was wrong with me, why was my life so hard, and I would struggle so much. As I went to school also, I realized that other girls had this, they had a high self-image, which I didn't have. And this also made me feel worse. And every time it would make me look back and be like, what is wrong with me? And despite the fact that I was going out a lot, my mom was really harsh, like she was very harsh. She was never she never supported the fact that I used to go out a lot or I wanted to go out. So in high school, she never used to allow me to go out. And then now after high school, when I used to go out, it was always a fight when I came back. And so also the support I had mentioned earlier from my grandma wasn't there because she left the country when I was around 12. So my mom was now the only support I had. The extended family wasn't close to me, like we were raised apart. So I never had like extended family who I could go and say, hi, I have this issue, could you explain to me what I can do in this situation, or I need advice. So most of my aunties were not close, and some of them who were close were not around. So that was very hard for me growing up as a girl, and the advice I got from my mom was like, boys are bad, or it was just this generic advice, like don't stay close to boys, or when you go with boys, be careful, or when you go to somewhere, don't go to a private place. But nothing like, you know, like the details of what can happen and how to be careful. So everywhere I went, it was just like, my mom is just being too harsh. Like she's not giving me anything that can really happen to me. And so yes, she used to say about pregnancy, but it's very vague, you know, like African parents are shy talking about relationships and talking about sex. So I think that's one thing that I also feel like if I would go back and ask for advice, it would be like, give me the nitty-gritty about what happens in this world. Because this world right here is very cruel. Like this generation, we need a lot of information about relationships and about sex. So I feel like I didn't get enough advice about all these things. And so when I went out into the world, into these things, it was just without much knowledge. Considering I was born in Nairobi, I wasn't born in Nairobi, but I've lived in Nairobi. But I think for someone living in Nairobi, you need to know a lot about these things. And that's something that I work on now, to just educate girls about these things. And so another thing would be, just looking back, I feel like there was not much support from other women who are not my family, like women who are out there. You know, when you're a girl, other girls should also be there to support you. They should be there and show you how to go about it, and just also explain to you what they went through, the mistakes they made. And so I started dating like at 17, and I feel it was it was a very misjudged decision. If I could wait for longer, I would have. And so between the time I was 17 and the time I was 18, I did so many things that I shouldn't have done. I feel like I made very uninformed decisions, and I looked for love in the wrong places. So I thought that when you're in a relationship with a man, they're supposed to love you, and that's the source of love that you get. Like, I shouldn't love myself. And so I think when I look back, I should have learned to love myself as a girl first, and then later I would learn to receive love in a very respectable manner. But since I didn't love myself, then again I received love that wasn't befitting of